Hi, Kerry here with Best of Us Investors. Been doing this YouTube gig since November the 11th, 2019, and every day I've done a video. And here lately, I have been thinking every video that I make is the most important video that I've ever made. And today is one of those, and it's because things are changing so rapidly. The coronavirus and now the war in between Russia and Ukraine. And I want to just share with you this chart here that shows that the driving change in our world over the last 20 years was a result of the digital revolution. And the digital revolution is a result of the advancements in technology. I think back to if I had said to you back in 1989 that this internet was going to change the way you did everything, most of you would say, nah, that isn't true, that 60% of my shopping is not going to move to this thing called internet, that roughly 100% of any research that I do will not be done in a library or some textbook. It'll be done on this thing called the internet. I think most of you would have said, no, that's not possible. That magazine advertising would be replaced by a thing called Facebook or Google. No, that's not going to happen. Well, that's exactly where we are today. And this change is not going to really be adapted. They say about 10% of the world are early adapters, and that the other 90% just don't get it. And I think that's where we are relative to the next change that is going to happen. I believe that next change is going to be in the field of healthcare. And it's being brought about by the fact that we had this coronavirus that said our healthcare system is broken when some bat or something in Wuhan, China can infect the whole world. The system is broken and we need to change it. And thus, the world will change in that regard. As a result of that coronavirus, the development in genome therapy and genome sequencing and genome editing has just accelerated. And as a result of that acceleration, our world's going to change. And that's what I want to talk about in this video and share with you in very detail what I think is going to change and how I've structured my portfolio to take advantage of it, because I want you to be part of the 10% that are early adapters, that will reap the rewards that I did not reap because I did not see in 1989 the power of Google, the power of Apple, the power of Microsoft. I did not see in 2009 the power of Facebook. I didn't see that. I was not an early adapter. But this time I will be, and I want you to be. So this is not financial advice.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
I've created a chart that I track my portfolio on a regular basis, and it breaks my portfolio down into various categories. I want to share with you the bulk of my portfolio, my big six, and then my genome therapy, genome editing. Watch this here. Okay, so this represents actually about 80% of my portfolio. You see up here, this is roughly 69%, and that's an Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and NVIDIA. And as I say, that's about 60%, so that's 510,000. What I believe these are going to be players in the medical revolution, but because they have the money, they have the talent, And as Tim Cook said in 2019, if you look at us in 2035 and ask what was Apple's biggest contribution to the world, he says it's going to be healthcare. And I believe that is the case for Amazon, for Google, probably not NVIDIA or not Meta, but certainly NVIDIA. So that is part of my portfolio. The other part that is directed specifically at the healthcare revolution is this down here, and it represents 20% of my portfolio, currently about $170,700. What I've then done is I've listed each one of them. I'm showing you what their market cap is. I'm going on Walter Isaacson's prediction that the Medicare, or not the Medicare, but the medical revolution, the genome sequencing, genome therapy, genome editing, is going to be as big as that of the digital revolution. Well, the digital revolution is right short of $11 trillion. So I'm saying that these stocks, or their surrogates, which are currently worth about $80 million, are going to turn into 11 trillion, and that's this number over here. So with that being said, I'm then saying then each of these market caps are going to have to grow at this factor, okay? So that's my logic. Now, is this written in stone? No, but these are the major players in this space at this time, and these are representative of the talent, the individuals, the Steve Jobs, the Sergey Brims, the Jeff Bezos of the digital revolution are players in these stocks. So that's my logic. So with that being said, this is the current price of these stocks. These are the number of shares I own, and this is the value of each of my holdings in those stocks. If they do then collectively achieve the 10 trillion, I'm then estimating, based upon their relative position compared to these people's, the Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Google, Meta, and NVIDIA, I have then attached a multiple to come up with what I think the pricing will be in 10 years. And I'll just put a date of 2030 on that. So that's my projection of what my 170,000 will turn into, roughly 755,000. That's my logic. What again is that based on? How did I pick these stocks? I've done research. I've read all the books. I understand genome sequencing. I understand genome editing. As I've shown here, I list this as genome therapy, but truly it's both genome therapy and genome editing. There is a difference. I'll leave it to you to do your research so that you understand the difference. Then these are two, this Illumina and Pacific Biosciences, are the genome sequencers. If you don't understand the difference between genome therapy, genome editing, and genome sequencing, I'll leave that to you, if this interests you, to educate yourself. Then these are protein sequencing companies, and then these are pharma artificial intelligence. And what that basically means is there is a movement to take and upgrade the work that is done in a laboratory rather than just put in your notes and try mixing molecules, these 7 molecules together and seeing what happens and then mixing these. But instead putting that into artificial intelligence and allowing that artificial intelligence to help you find vaccines, therapies quicker, because you're bringing artificial intelligence, multiple minds, thousands of minds together, rather than each mind working on its own. So that's what those are. And then ME, that's 23andMe, is basically the leader in genome data. So that's how I have reconciled or come up with a projection of what I think my stocks are going to be worth. Now, do I believe this is written in stone? No. And do I believe it will change? Yes. There are other companies, such as Mammoth, to name one, that is also a part of Jennifer Doudna's, who is one of the leaders in genome or CRISPR research. She is involved in that company, and so, but they're not public yet. So I will continue to monitor these, along with the help from my tribe, members of my tribe, who are also interested in this, to make sure as we move closer and closer to the end date. And what is the end date? The end date is when genome therapy, genome editing is adapted by the medical field as a whole. That you go to your doctor and say, "Doctor, I want my genome sequenced, and I want to then discover what the propensity of my body to have cancer, to have heart disease, to have Parkinson's, to have Alzheimer's is, and then use the therapy or the editing to take it out of my body." When you demand that upon your doctors, that's when my $170,700 will turn into $69 million. That's what's going to happen. And if you don't believe it's going to happen, recognize at one point Amazon was not selling for $3,225. In fact, as recent as 2020, it was selling for $5 a share. And Microsoft was selling for $1.75 a share. It's currently selling for $300 a share. So when I say this can happen, it can happen. And I have the conviction that it will happen. If you have that similar conviction, then I suggest we move forward, and let me show you what the roller coaster I've been on and where I think this is today, and where I think the world is now waking up to this, and it will become a reality. Okay, that gives you kind of a feel of where I think this is going and how I'm using the past revolution, the digital revolution, to give me some measurement as to what I think the potential consequences are in the health cure revolution. Now, again, I want to emphasize, what I just showed you are the 14 stocks that I've identified. If you've been a part of my channel, I've shared with you the books I've read, the articles I follow, how I use my tribe to a group of people to feed me information, to help us make good investment decisions. You've known all that. But now let me show you what I think is happening today. As I said, there are early adapters. I think I'm one of those in there, and I don't think there is 10% that has become early adapters yet. I think that the world is just now waking up to what is genome sequencing, what is genome editing. I think if you would go to your church on Sunday or your synagogue on Saturday and say, "Okay, everybody who knows what genome editing is, the difference between genome editing, genome therapy, and genome sequencing, raise your hand." You'll probably get one, maybe two people out of 100 that would raise their hand and say, "Yeah, I understand it. We're working on it down here at our laboratory." But it's now showing up on 60 Minutes. It's now showing up in the Wall Street Journal. It's now showing up in the science journals are coming out of the science labs, and the general public is recognizing it. Now, every once in a while, as I'll show you, the investment public sees something happen and they react to it. But as a whole, it's still It's nowhere near where electric vehicles are today. It's just in the development stages, much as the internet was in 1989. Let me show you this chart that I created off of TradingView that shows you where it's been since I got into it, the roller coaster I've been riding on, and what's happening today. This is the ballpark that I play in, at least with 20% of my portfolio. I have a real conviction because of my family situation to be involved in the cure of disease, whether it be cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease. I believe it is the health cure revolution is the single best opportunity for me to make money in the stock market in the coming years. I believe that this is bigger than the digital revolution because it's saving lives. And so I wanted to kind of share with you the roller coaster I've been on and give you some insight as to where I think that roller coaster is headed. These are 8 of the 14 stocks that I own in what I call the health cure revolution space, basically wrapped around genome sequencing, genome therapy, and genome editing. So they are, what you see here is Editas, Caribou, Intella, Illumina, NVIDIA, Beam, Quantum Sci, and Pacific Auto Sciences. So you can see the yellow line is actually Intella, and they, in August, actually it was probably more like in June of 2021, they had a clinical study in which the patients that they put a needle in an arm to correct a liver disease all had positive results. And you can see the stock surged some 890% and then got actually up to 966% from where it was in September of 2019. So that's the potential that lies within these stocks. Now, at that point, we went into a fear market of inflation and so we became risk averse. The market became risk averse, and you can see everything just pretty much crashed down. This is a weekly chart. I want to switch it over to a daily chart and show you some things that may or may not have some bearing. And I want to bring it down to a shorter period of time. And I'm looking now at probably from September. You can see it all went down, but what I want you to notice is this spike on every one of them in actually the last week. If we bring this over here and we look at it from just in the last week, we can see that these stocks have gone up in the last week anywhere from 26, 26, 24, 23, 20, 16, 14, 13, 9%. I believe this is indication that the stock market is waking up to health cure. It is waking up to genome sequencing, genome editing, and genome therapy. And so I see this as a wonderful place to be investing in a depressed market. And we are certainly in a depressed market, and we are in a market of fear. Depending on what Vladimir does in the next several weeks and maybe months, you're going to see these either continue to go up or you're going to see them react like the overall market will. But again, I want to emphasize that when you invest, I believe you should look at the market and say, where is the biggest change that is going to occur in the next 3 to 5 years? And I don't believe it's going to be in food products or real estate. I believe that if these people, the 14 companies that I own, actually do change the world from health care to health cure, this is going to explode. And you will look at it and say, wow, that was the same as the digital revolution, the health cure revolution. And you will say, that's the Google, that's the Apple, that's the Amazon of the healthcare revolution resulting in health cure. This is bigger than anything that you and I have ever seen in our lives. So let's take advantage of it. Again, I think back to 1989. I remember it very vividly. I was just getting involved in financial planning with IDS, and we had an office down in River Chase. And I remember riding in my car, and every advertisement on the radio or the TV was saying, and you can find us at suchandsuch.com. Everybody was buying up.com. In fact, I remember reading a story that Coca-Cola had to buy Coca-Cola or Coke.com from some early adapter who recognized the potential of a URL as such and bought it, and Coke had to buy it from them. Much as I was an early adapter, I believe it was in about '05, I bought the URL Best of Us, or changed the U to a U and the S, Best of US. I bought it for $1,400. I have the vision that someday someone's going to come and offer me $1 million for it. But if I had told you, or if I had been told what the scope of the internet was going to be in 1989, I wouldn't have bought it. I didn't buy into it. But I do buy in, and I want you to recognize that the potential of the genome category is enormous. As I showed you, it's going to be an $11 trillion industry. It's nowhere near that. Now is the time to buy into it. And this is just the beginning. This thing is going to go beyond that. And then after that, you're going to see 3D printing, alternative energy, cybersecurity, fintech. There's anybody wants to get rid of more than our banks, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. These are all elements or changes that are coming in the wings. And it won't be like 1989 to 2020, that the gap between the digital revolution and the medical revolution. These are going to come fast. And they're going to become fast because they have been injected with a supercharger agent called artificial intelligence. And if you do not understand artificial intelligence, let me just give you a short primer. This is intelligence. This is what's in my head. Artificial intelligence is what's in everybody's head, put together, sliced and diced, and regurgitated for the best of everything. That's where we're going. And that's how you can change your life. If you will become an early adapter, and then if you have the patience to see it and wait for it and let it happen, you will become super wealthy. All you have to do is to say, I can endure the pain. I know what's going to happen. I've seen it happen before, but there's some pain in getting to the finish line. And I don't care what you pursue, whether you are a long distance runner, or you're a weightlifter, or you're a football player, or you're a mother or a father, there's pain involved. And it's those who endure the pain and have the endurance to stay with it that become the wealthy. You have that opportunity today. I want to help you get there. I want you to be a part of it. Come to bestofusinvestors.com. Join our Discord. We're going to change it. We're going to suck up all the knowledge that is available, and then we're going to slice it and dice it and then give you access to it. Well, I'm going to create a system by which we will find the best opportunities in the future. We'll sort through them. We'll then use technology to help us find the entry points and the exit points. And I'm actually going to move part of my portfolio into swing trading because the change is happening so fast that the opportunities are unlike we've ever seen before. I never have made so much money as when I identified that the coronavirus was a temporary situation, and I made 68% on my investments doing swing trading during the 6 months that the coronavirus hit us, took us down, and then took us right back up. The same opportunities right here, right again, courtesy of Vladimir Putin. Talk to you again tomorrow.